You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Tuesday, 7th day of August, 2018. So glad you could join us today. Whoever you are, wherever you are. If you're returning, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, a special welcome to you. We are glad you've chosen to join us. Thank you for inviting us into your home, your office, your car, your dog walk, sitting on a bench in a park, camped out by the river. Yeah, anyway, thanks. We're so glad that you've chosen us to spend your 12 to 2 with. Now, I got a chart up of the S&P 500. If you can't see it, go to our homepage at cfrn.net. On the right-hand side, just click the microphone, big microphone, real big. Follow the instructions. You'll be registered in 30 seconds, and you're good through the end of the month. That registration gives you one-click access to the show every day, and then on the first of the month, you just register again and get another month of one-click access. We dual stream at youtube.com/CFRN/live. bookmark that page, and you'll always have one-click access in case the GoToWebinar, should the software from GoTo or LogMeIn, they're now called, if that ever fails, just pop right over to the YouTube channel, and in theory, you'll find us there. All right, and we're there right now. We're in 2 places at once. Wow. Okay, let's start with Robert Kiyosaki. Do you know Robert Kiyosaki? I don't mean personally, do you know who he is? He's the author of the best-selling personal finance book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Unusual name. Well, many of us grew up in homes that had been visited by divorce, and so many of us had a father and a stepfather. Okay? Well, in the case of Mr. Kiyosaki, guess what? Yep, you got it. One was rich and one was poor. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Hence the name of the very, very popular book. I think that book alone, Robert really doesn't have to work anymore. I think that book was incredibly popular. Now, he's come out with some bold statements. He's predicting that the mainstream financial system is headed towards a crisis of unprecedented size and scale. Now, this is a little bit out of his wheelhouse. I've never heard him make these type of predictions before. His talks, his writing, books, videos all speak more to just personal finance. He did an interview with news.com, and he said, unfortunately, we had a big crash in 2000. They called it the dot-com crash. Then in 2008, it was the subprime real estate crash. The next one is going to be the biggest of all. When it's coming, I don't really know. But the foreshocks are sounding right now. Mr. Kiyosaki criticized fiat money. He said this, there's so much fake money. In 1971, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, and the US dollar became fake money. Mr. Kiyosaki added that the problem is it also became invisible, so they could print as much as they wanted. That's why savers got wiped out. For the average person, Mr. Kiyosaki asserts, the easiest way to hedge against the oncoming crisis is to just buy some Aussie gold or silver coins from the Perth Mint. When the dollar goes down, gold goes up. In an interview with the Sane Crypto podcast, Mr. Kiyosaki recently praised cryptocurrencies, expressing his expectation that virtual currencies will supersede fiat currencies in the near future. During the podcast, he describes 3 forms of money: government money, which is fiat currency; God's money, which is gold and silver, which will be here after the cockroaches go extinct; and people's money, which is virtual currency. Government money, the US dollar; gold and silver, God's money; cryptocurrency, the people's money. He goes on to say, I think the dollar is toast because gold and silver and cyber currency are going to take it out. The US dollar is a scam. So we've got Jamie Dimon on one side of the street saying Bitcoin's a fraud, and Mr. Kiyosaki on the other side of the street saying the US dollar is a scam. And he ends with, I think we're watching the end of the US dollar. Yeah. We do a 21 bell salute. No, I'm kidding. We won't do that. Okay. Well, I'll tell you one more thing real quick. And I'm sure most of you know Bob Good Latte. No, that's probably not how you pronounce it. He is the chair of the House Committee on the Judiciary. His last name looks like the word good and the word latte smashed together. It's a smash up. Bob Good Latte. Okay, I can deal with it. Representative Bob Good Latte, the chair of the House Committee on the Judiciary, has reportedly become the first member of the United States Congress to report private cryptocurrency investments. As per Mr. Good Latte's annual financial disclosure report that was filed on the 10th day of May 2018, he owns Bitcoin Core, BTC, Bitcoin Cash, BCH, and Ethereum, ETH. The report indicates that Mr. Good Latte then owned between $15,000 and $50,000 worth of BTC, while also holding positions in the other two valued somewhere between $1,000 and $15,000 each. Mr. Good Latte's private cryptocurrency investments have come as little surprise to some analysts. His son, Bobby Good Latte Jr., is an angel investor in major cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase. The congressman is also a member of the Congressional Blockchain Caucus, a bipartisan pro-cryptocurrency and distributed ledger technology lobbyist group formed in 2017 by Arizona Republican David Schweikert and Colorado Democrat Jared Polis. On the 18th of June, the United States Office of Government Ethics published a legal advisory requiring all employees of the United States executive branch to disclose cryptocurrency ownership. The mandate gave lawmakers 45 days to report any virtual currency holdings, as with any other asset. The advisory came following the efforts of Congressional Blockchain Caucus co-founder Jared Polis, who in February petitioned the House Committee on Ethics to provide guidance regarding how politicians should disclose virtual currency holdings. Many analysts are expecting Mr. Polis to also reveal cryptocurrency holdings within the near future, given his actions and advocacy within the virtual currency sphere. Well, what do you know? Congress getting in on the new reality, I guess. That's what it sounds like. Okay, numbers from around the world. These are the cash markets. We'll get to the futures shortly. The Dow is up 165 points. NASDAQ is up 25. S&P 500 up 11.5. And the Russell 2000 up 7. No movers, no shakers, but not bad. Well, the Dow, that's, a little over 0.5%. Commodity basket, crude oil gained 29 cents so far, trading 69.30 last. Gold up $2.60, trading 12.20.30 last. In Asian markets, the Nikkei was up 155 points at the close. Shanghai added 74 points, which for the Shanghai, that's almost 3%. And the Hang Seng at the close up 429 points, 1.5%. Last but not least, in Europe, the FTSE was up 54 points at the close, the DAX was up 49, and the CAC was up 44. So it's a green day in Asia, it's a green day in Europe, it's a green day in the US of A. So I guess this is officially Turnaround Tuesday. What are we turning around for? Michael is going to come and give us a recap of everything that happened in the live training room. And when he has finished, now he's doing his webinar today, and we have a 4 o'clock webinar for everyone who participated in the beta test. If you were one of those who participated in the beta, you are invited to the webinar today at 4 p.m. Eastern, sort of a debriefing, if you will, and answer any questions that you may have. If you are interested in the beta, and what we did in the beta, but you weren't an actual beta tester, We're going to have a webinar tomorrow at 4. Today's the beta testers. Tomorrow, the non-beta testers. I will put the link into the chat box for the beta testers for today. I've sent an email. I've put it on the Google Plus blog. I think I tweeted it, and I'll get it in the chat box here. So if you participated in the beta, please come today at 4. And those who did not participate in the beta, please come tomorrow at 4. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Michael B. And then I'll be back. And we'll talk to John. We'll take a look at the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night. We'll have a straight but gay old time. Okay.
All right.
You got it?
I got it.
All right. We'll hit mute. It's all yours. Oh, okay.
All right. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, oh, darn it. Can somebody out there type in a Y or a X or a anything? So I can type in the link to the meeting this afternoon. My meeting. Thank you, Michael. Okay. This afternoon at 1:15, so in a little under an hour, I am going to host a meeting. Thank you, Ron W. and Michael. I'm going to host a meeting at 1:15 p.m. EDT to go over other trade setups that we don't do in the room in the morning. Okay. Now, I got to make sure this meeting is relatively short because I have another meeting right after that, and then I have another meeting right after that, and then I have another meeting right after that. So, got lots going on today. Busy day. Busy day today. All right. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at CFRN.net. Right there, www.cfrn.net. Right over here on the side, it says 5-day free trial. Apply.cfrn.net. Click on that. Then down here at the bottom, it says free 5-day trial. Click on that or that. Any one of those is eventually going to get you to this page. Okay, and on this page, all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Once you click that submit button, why, then you will be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the confirmation link, we don't know you took the trial. All right, so results. Once again, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 7th day of August, 2018. We made 8 ticks in the Euro, 1 tick in Crude, and 8 ticks on the ES. Put us at plus 160 on the morning. Today took 28 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract. And we took a total of 6 trade opportunities today. So on the month now, we're at 46 1/4. That's over 4 days, averaging 121 per day. On the year, we're at 21,585. That's over 142 days, averaging 152 per day. 152 per day. Okay, now that is 1 contract, 2 hours per day. Okay? Okay. Now, on gold, we did nothing this morning. You can see there was a big run up here in the pre-market, and typically when there's a big run up in the pre-market, the rest of the day is going to be like junk. But the market's opened up right here. Okay, had a leg down, pulled back up, cycle not giving up. Slingshot just not giving up a trade. We really didn't have anything that we could do. I mean, and if you look at, you know, the last couple days between 9:30 and 11:30, there has been like almost no activity here. Almost no activity. And we rolled to the Z contract last week. You know, the concierge alerts last night, Dwayne nailed it on gold. But in the room this morning, there just wasn't anything to be had. Which one is this? The Euro. We actually had another trade here on the Euro too, right here, where we picked up 4 ticks. I didn't highlight that one. It was there to there. And I said, if we don't put in a higher swing here, then, well, it could turn around on us. But when the markets opened up right here, it had a big leg up, then a big leg down. And after it went down, it pulled back a little. It gave us an opportunity right here. We took 4 ticks on that. And then it started to change directions, and we took 4 ticks on that. And that was it. That was it. I mean, the last couple of days, the markets have just not been giving anything up. It's, you know, I'd like to say it's the summertime blues, but I really don't believe in that crap. I'm sorry, that stuff. I think, you know, if you wait around long enough, if you're there at the right time, there's going to be opportunity. You know, we have our 2-hour window that we have to work in every day. But anyway, on crude, we missed a trade. We didn't miss a trade. We got a break even there. Okay, we got a break even there. We missed a short right in there, and we had 1 tick profit there. Since then, let's see, there was a bounce off the BBC right here that would have been a break even trade. And that is all there was. So, not a whole lot happening. All right. On the ES, we had 1 trade right here. Now, I don't know what I did with this trade, but I was telling everybody that an up close at 28.59 would be a long opportunity. And I really don't know what I did with this trade. My stop should have gone to break even or locked in some profit. But I looked at it a few minutes later and it was up here. And so we took profit, 8 ticks, and it is what it is. Then I had a break even trade right there. Everything changed directions here, and I didn't want to go short here because we weren't really trending, you know, down. Not really trending down here. So I left it alone. And since then, there has been nothing. Nothing at all. Okay. Nothing at all. And that was it. That was our whole morning. For those of you who are in here, you should look in the question box, because not only did I put my link to the 1:15 meeting, but Dwayne put the link to the much anticipated Logic 24/7 meeting, the beta meeting, okay, this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so everybody should try to get to that. Should try to get to all our meetings. They all have some value. All right. So as I said, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today's the 7th day of August, 2018. We made 8 ticks in the euro, 1 tick in crude, and 8 ticks on the ES. So we're plus 160 on the morning. It took us 28 minutes and 3 trades to get to $100 a contract, and we took a total of 6 trades. On the month now, we're at $486. That's over 4 days, averaging $121 per day. On the year, we're at $21,585. That's over 142 days, averaging $152 per day. Okay. If you have not taken our free trial, then you should just go to the homepage here at CFRN.net. And right here where it says 5-day free trial, click on that. Or scroll down here where it says big green button, free 5-day trial, click on that. Or this one, click on that. There's even one way down at the bottom, I think. There it is, start free trial. Click on that. Either way, you're going to end up at this page, where all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Hit that submit button, you'll be sent a confirmation link, and then, and only then, will you get the information you need to get into the live training room in the morning. Okay? Okay. With that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona. Studio A overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready. Dwayne is ready.
Why? I say, boy, yeah, I'm ready. Foghorn Leghorn. What a guy. What a guy.
Yeah. Foghorn Leghorn. Big old rooster.
Big rooster. He was a very large rooster.
He was.
I believe.
He was.
They say it's the hormones they're putting in the cattle now. Oh wait, he's a chicken. He doesn't eat meat. Actually, those billboards are cute. I don't know if you have them where you stay, but it's these cows, and they're putting up a billboard, and they're like 3-dimensional, and it says, "Eat more chicken." They misspelled chicken.
I
didn't.
think I did see that
I
somewhere.
didn't have the heart to, say anything. I just waved as I went by. They didn't even look. They just. Not that billboard. Oh baby. Did you know that you can't? Bill, this is. Most people did not know that. Did not know this. How low can it go? That's what some people say that. Open a new window. Yes, I'd like that very much. Thank you. Okay. Just let me ask you. How much do you think you, man of your stature and geographical location, how much would you have to pay, do you think, to have a billboard, one of these digital electronic billboards, to have your name up in lights alongside the freeway so that thousands of people, as they pass by each day on their way to work or home, depends on which side of the freeway you put your billboard on, you understand.
I do.
What do you think something like that would cost a fellow?
It depends where you do it, but 20 grand a month. It's not too far out of the ballpark, I don't think.
You better sit down, son.
I actually looked it up at one point.
I say, you better sit down, son. Billboard starting at $30 a day. $30 a day.
Yeah, in the middle of Kansas, there's like one
actually,
car every.
Actually, it's on the freeway right here. I don't think those digital billboards are really that great of an idea, because they really do kind of grab your attention, which is the whole point.
Yeah,
you want to see what's going to scroll up next.
Taking your eyes off the road.
Yeah, you should be looking at that car in front of you. Digital billboard free ROI calculator. They can't do that. Okay. So, yes, my original thought would have been right along with yours. I just happened to hear, I don't know, some news thing, pod thing, I don't know, some kind of thing.
I actually looked it up in Boston, and Comcast, I think, is the company that owns pretty much all the billboards around Boston. And it really is like 10 grand a month, 10, 20 grand a month, depending on how often you want to show it.
How does it work? See, that's what everybody wants to know. They
Yeah.
got a plan, and they let you compare. Okay, enough with the hubbub. Let's get down to business. How much is this thing going to cost? Find your perfect. Oh, we got to play these games. Can't you just like tell us? No, they're not going to do that, and I refuse to play along, Michael. I hope you'll respect that.
Okay, I do. I totally respect that.
We don't go there. That dog no hunt. Digital billboard advertising cost. Digital billboard cost in India. Okay, I would keep an open mind. The smartest way to billboard. We put ads on trucks at half the cost of traditional. Affordable billboard ads. Instant placement in Times Square. Now that's got to be expensive, right? Yeah, $10 a minute.
$10 a minute.
$10 a minute. Oh, they're so aggressive with their little messages. So you can be in Times Square, but you've got to buy, I guess, a minimum of 1,359 impressions. No, wait a minute.
Oh, that's about 10 grand right there.
59 impressions at $7 per thousand. Oh, they're trying to calculate how many people are going to look up and see that thing. I don't know. That seems a little hard. How much is digital? Okay. See, here we go. Now these are the prices that we thought, but I mean they're throwing around like $10 figures, $10 a day stuff, $30 a day we just saw, which comes out to if you want to run the whole month, that's $900. But a lot of people do see it. And the same people see it over and over each day, which is important. They say that a person needs to be exposed to something 7 times. I know, why not 6? Why not 8? But
I know, before they act on it.
They say 7. You got to be exposed 7 times before you make a buying decision. The cost of a digital billboard ad can range between $2,000 and $7,000 a week. The exact amount varies from billboard to billboard. ad sensible. In India, oh, you actually buy the whole billboard in India and then bring it home. I think that's good. Billboards becoming a popular mode of investment. Oh, that's way back in 2014. You know, I'm surprised that Google doesn't do a better job of separating current. Well, you've got evergreen content, which stuff that's going to be, you know, last forever. It's not. It doesn't have a expire by date. It's just whatever. Billboard starting at $9.99 in Phoenix. Work smarter. See, if you just look for the schemiest headline, invest in quality billboard. Huh. Wonder what kind of electricity they eat up. Probably not as much as a Bitcoin, huh?
Probably not. And they probably have a solar thing that powers them.
Yeah, that's clever. I'm glad you thought of that. Let me look at these guys. Oh, these guys put, instead of buying a billboard, these guys want to sell you some space on the side of their semi. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, because that might get. Well, the problem with that is.
Look at this.
You're not going to have the same people
23,000
seeing
for 4
that semi.
weeks. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say that again.
I was saying the problem with the side of a semi is you're not going to have the same people seeing it all the time. You know, the billboard, people are driving to work, so you get it in some place where people are going to work. They're going to see it once, twice a day, maybe.
Yeah, I don't want to. So where did we see that? Where was the one that we saw, the cheapest one? Because I want to see if that's
$10.
Like, yeah,
I
thought it was this top one.
Yeah, I thought it was too, but I think you got in Indy up there on your.
Oh yeah, we don't want to do that. Oh, it was this one right here. No, not that one.
Not that one. That's $1,000.
TVLiquidator.com. Gosh, my last business, I used to buy so much stuff from the TV Liquidator people. I sold products like the world's greatest carpet shampooer that was on QVC forever. But then once they got down to like just 2,500 items, that wasn't enough for them to air another thing, and so I would. Yeah, that's just one example. I would buy that stuff. And great products, and I'd get a great price. Like it's sold on TV for maybe $19.95 or $29.95. I'd get it for like $2.95. Anytime you can make a $10 mark, that's or a 10-time mark, that's pretty good. All right, so everybody's throwing out these big numbers, and it looks like the guy with the $10 billboard, he just sold out because we put it. Oh, and this guy sells bulletin boards. We had one of these at the last company in the sales room, and that keyboard was all right. Now I'm just rambling. Okay, anything you want to cover? Anything you need to say?
No, but we got meetings all afternoon, and let me see if John's out there. He's not out there yet.
Busy. I'm so busy. All right, so you guys gotta do your thing, and John's not there, so he'll be here shortly, I suppose. I need to find my phone in case he jingles me up. Boy, you know, my phone, this is so strange. My phone, I keep getting this message that says, you've got to free up some storage space. You have no room.
I get that in my voicemails. My voicemail's like 98% full. So I got to go through and delete a whole bunch of voicemails.
Right. I have to do that from time to time, but I've got no music on my phone. I've got no podcasts on my phone. And compared to some people, I don't really have a lot of apps. Certainly don't have any that I use very often, except a couple that I use regularly. And the app itself is so tiny. My phone's full and there's nothing on it. I'm guessing that the text messages or the emails or both somehow count against your storage. I have cloud storage, but that won't help me because I have nothing to move to the cloud. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing to move. I mean, apparently this thing is cannibalizing itself. Pretty soon there won't be enough room for the operating system, and it'll just shut off. Which means I got to buy a new phone. So that's how they get you. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So you're leaving, and I'm going to talk to these nice folks in the audience. Okay. And John, if you're listening in, we're ready for you whenever you want to come.
He's not there yet.
All right. I'll talk to you in a little while.
All right. We'll talk to you in a while.
Okie doke. All right, guys. I put that link down in the room, or in the chat box, chat room. Please cover evening alerts, GCCL. If you already did, I'm sorry, it just came in. No, I haven't, Benjamin, but we're going to jump on those in just a second. So hang tight and we'll go take a look at them. Apple, Facebook, and Spotify have shut down InfoWars presenter Alex Jones. I'm sure everybody knows who Alex Jones is, and he's in the business of, you know, freaking people out, kind of like Newsmax. He might work for Newsmax. I don't know. Maybe he owns Newsmax. Anyway, he has a popular show. It's very edgy, and you get a lot of your conspiracies and stuff. Apple, Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube have all removed the work of Alex Jones from their platforms in a sweeping crackdown on the popular conspiracy theorist. He's been in the news. I don't know what it is in particular that he did. We'll find out here in a minute, I think. I mean, he's always ticking people off. That's what he does for a living. Apple was the first to take action against Jones, reporting that it had scrubbed the entire library for 5 of InfoWars' 6 podcasts from iTunes and its podcast app. Within hours, Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube followed suit. Apple provided a statement which said it notified Jones ahead of time of its plans to pull the podcast under its hate speech guidelines. Apple does not tolerate hate speech. We have clear guidelines that creators and developers must follow to ensure we provide a safe environment for all of our users. Now that's from Apple. Podcasts that violate these guidelines are removed from our directory, making them no longer searchable or available for download or streaming. We believe in representing a wide range of views, so long as people are respectful to those with differing opinions. Soon after Apple shut down Jones, Facebook published a blog announcing it had removed 4 pages belonging to the presenter. Facebook said he had repeatedly posted content in recent days that broke its community standards. The company took down 4 of his videos last month. We have taken it down for glorifying violence, which violates our graphic violence policy, and using dehumanizing language to describe people who are transgender, Muslims, and immigrants, which violates our hate speech policies. This is still Facebook talking. It added that none of the violations were related to false or fake news. Spotify also removed the Alex Jones Show for violations of its content policy. I can confirm that Spotify has removed the Alex Jones Show. InfoWars, a spokeswoman said. Spotify took down several episodes of the show last week. YouTube, where Jones has nearly 2.5 million subscribers, was the 4th company to act. His channel was no longer available as of yesterday. In a live Periscope stream on Twitter, so now he wants Twitter to shut him down. In a live Periscope stream on Twitter, Jones said he was being censored by the San Francisco tech elite. Now, I've never listened to one of his shows. I do know that he's, people slow down to look when they pass by. There's no doubt. What he said, I guess they're not going to tell us. If he's guilty of what they said, then but then we get into censoring, and then there's that free speech amendment that keeps, sticking its head up. Now, in a live Periscope stream on Twitter, Jones said he was being censored by the San Francisco tech elite. Sleeping Giants, an activist organization that vows to make bigotry and sexism less profitable, has been lobbying Apple to take action against him. On Twitter, it welcomed the company's decision. Jones is facing defamation lawsuits from the families of some children killed at Sandy Hook Elementary School over his claims that the 2012 school shooting was a hoax. 6 years since Sandy Hook. 2012. And in case you haven't heard, there are members of our society that believe Sandy Hook never happened. They say Hitler never happened too, or some of the horrific stuff he did. You know, I don't even want to bring it up on this show, but that's kind of what being an American is all about. You know, not only personal freedom to move about the cabin, but you know, are we now the thought police? Are we censoring free speech? I mean, I don't like hate speech either. No time for it. Don't listen to it. So yeah, it's a real gray area, because we all grew up knowing and hearing and understanding, you know, freedom of speech. But I grew up in a time and an era where most of the people I grew up with, even the kids with their bell bottoms and all that stuff, would not say half of the nonsense that people say today on public radio and television. It wasn't done. And you know what I'm talking about, because you grew up then also. Amazon says they're going to make boatloads of money from Alexa. Now, we all knew that was coming. Alexa's voice is maturing, and so is the path to monetization. In Amazon's quarterly earnings call on July 26, the company's head of investor relations said that people were enjoying the company's Alexa-powered devices, but didn't directly address its role as a voice shopping service. I think we're having a lot of success with devices, and customers are enjoying them. Coming out of Prime Day, we had some good. You could get an Alexa Dot or Spot or whatever for like $19 on Prime Day. The focus now is really having a good and exciting roadmap of recent revisions and more to come ahead, and getting those into customers' hands. Amazon has made improvements to Alexa shopping with new initiatives, integrating it with the Whole Foods delivery through Prime Now, but the company has shared few specifics with their customers. Taking that in a vacuum, you might think that the voice shopping future that Amazon heralded with Alexa's debut has not yet arrived. However, Amazon has yet to throw down its ace in the hole: digital services made better by Alexa. Amazon services like audiobooks, grocery, and music streaming have stayed in the 50% growth range since at least the first quarter of 2017. Amazon has experienced success with its Amazon Music Unlimited, noting it has tens of millions of paid customers. It continues to grow very quickly. The Prime Music service, wait a minute, that's not right. Prime members with an Alexa device tend to first use the more limited but already included Prime Music service before graduating to the $8 a month and more feature-rich unlimited one. You know, maybe I got grandfathered in, because mine's well, maybe they raised the price. It was $4 a month. It says here it's $8 now. Since they can get users in the habit of queuing up music with voice commands, Alexa-enabled devices like the Echo speakers have the potential to convince those who don't already have premium digital music subscriptions to buy them. At $7.99 a month for Prime members, Amazon Music Unlimited is cheaper than Spotify and Apple Music at $9.99 a month. Amazon also offers device-only subscriptions for unlimited. Oh, $3.99 a month. Okay. I'm not sure what they mean by device only. Oh, so I can't listen to that on my desktop. It has to be on a device. And if they mean device only for $3.99, it's only good on one device. I didn't mean to hack your Alexa. I'm sorry. Amazon has been shifting away from audio-only devices, making Echo devices with screens, and debuting the Amazon Fire TV Cube. The new Fire Stick, those were on sale for $19 on Prime Day, and you can talk to the new Fire Stick just like you talk to the Alexa. Now, the one Alexa, they're saying here that the direction Amazon's taking is more screens, more screens, more screens. All right. Well, we have the tall Alexa, and we have several of the little round, inexpensive spots or dots, whatever they're called. And then for Father's Day, I got an Alexa Show, which is the one with the screen, and the one that gets the least amount of usage is the one with the screen, like a little TV. You can watch videos. I guess the kids even figured out how to watch TV shows with it under restriction. But that one gets the least amount of use. I don't wonder why. I guess because it seems like with that one, you sort of have to pay attention to it because it's got a screen and you're supposed to look because it's showing you something. But the others just kind of blend into the background, and maybe you don't think twice about it. I don't know. Interesting. Daniel says the commandments are considered hate speech to some. Too bad, so sad for them, I guess. I'm a hater then. But if you look at them, you'll never hurt anyone. Now that's true. So Daniel, I mean, is that just sort of a comment, or are there groups of people that think the Ten Commandments, that consider the Ten Commandments hate speech? Is that true? I'm asking. I'm not. It's not a loaded question. It's just an honest question. I don't know. I mean, it says don't kill, don't sleep with your neighbor's wife, love God. That's the first thing. Love your neighbor, don't lie, don't steal. Daniel says at some point everyone has to pick a side. And Jones says, come on. Jones says, you really have to dig to find the truth about Jones. Okay, this is on Alex. You have to dig to find the truth about Jones and what he says. They take down his video proofs, lie about what he said, then ban him altogether, along with his allies, so there is no way to get his defense out to the public. Fascists. Now, Apple is based in China. Now they're using that against us. Now Apple is based in Apple-China-U.S. trade war bargaining chip. Okay. Daniel, something about lukewarm, Daniel? That's not actually in the commandments, but yeah, we can roll with it. I know what scripture you're referring to. Let's see. Also, Google is going back to China with a censored search, right? I heard about that, which they are testing here today. You know, I think some people might like to have that link. Let me scoop that up and send it out to everybody. John had mentioned the other day that Alibaba or the big search engine would probably take a little bit of a hit. It's a public company, it's a search engine, it's like Google, but it's in China, and it has a different name. That's how it differs, in case you're wondering. All right, let's take a look real quick at last night's Concierge Trade Alerts. In fact, now would be a great time to take a screenshot. If you want to take a screenshot. Webinar this afternoon, 4 o'clock, for the beta test that we just completed. Now, the beta test, if you were in it, you participated in it, then your webinars today at 4. If you did not participate in the beta, but you're interested in the service, then your webinars tomorrow at 4. Okay. Now, I sent that to all, and you've had time to take your screenshot. Okay. On the S&P, last night's email said to consider being long or to consider buying. I just opened up, never mind, 25 or 28.58 on the S&P. 28.58. There's 56, 57, and 58. There we go. All right. So right there, by 26.58. The swing high was 28.6375, so 5.75 so far. Never get out at the swing high or swing low. Nobody does, but we just admit it. And when you're trailing a stop, obviously you're not going to get out at the swing high or swing low. Really, the only way to get out of the swing high or swing low is just dumb luck. Pretty much. 575, 5.75, 5 3/4 points, $50 a point, 250 bucks for the 5. And what do you give me for the 0.75? On the Dow, what do we do? On the Dow, consider being long 25,490. 25,490. Now we need to see real quick. 25,490. There we go. 25,490. We have hit a high so far. $661. It's gonna be 160, 170. That's 170 points at $5 per point. That's what the market made available. It's not how much you took out of the trade. Where you put your stop loss and how close you trail it or how far you trail it, that determines what you can take out of whatever the market makes available. Now I just want to see if we ran up on if it was a zone that turned us back or something else. On the Dow, let's find this week. Here we go. 25. 25661. No, we did not run into a zone, so we may have some higher drift, but we're in the upper region. And how about over here? 20. What did I? 28.58. How about that? Does that sound right? Okay. 28.58. And 63. Again, it looks like, based upon the weekly trading zones, we've got still one zone overhead, so we may reach up a little bit earlier this afternoon, or reach up a little bit higher this afternoon. We don't have to go far, 5 points ish. Oh, let's see where John is, and then there was a specific request to cover. Hang on, put the dial on him. Now on, there it is, the Google Plus blog, I finished recapping week 3. I've broken it up into the 3 separate weeks. You coming on?
I'll be on in a few minutes, okay?
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, you're going to join us here in a couple minutes. So on the Google Plus blog, it's broken up into individual weeks, and then I put the 3 weeks together, and what we came up with was 113 alerts over the 3 weeks. First week there was 10, second week 32, and the third week I was working round the clock. 71. 113 total. Out of the 113 alerts, 26 of them did not trigger. Now, when you go through the results of the beta, because you can walk through it, it's there, it's preserved, it's historic like a museum. You can go and you can look. If you break it, you buy it, you know, that thing. So, you know, help yourself. You'll read that some of the alerts, we don't expect them to trigger. Which, I know that's like, well, that's really confusing. Or could you tell us which ones those are? No, that would kind of defeat the purpose. Now, what do I mean by we don't expect them to trigger? You have a situation whereby it just, a novice looks at the chart and says, oh man, that thing's moving higher, or that thing's moving lower. So you have situations where it's just so obvious to anyone who knows anything about technical analysis. Doesn't mean that the market is going up or going down. It just looks so obvious. Well, obviously that's what it's going to do. So when I find a case of that is so convincing that I'm 90% positive that 90% of the traders in the world, from banks to bots, believe the market is going to move higher at this point, then I might put out an alert, okay, to sell it if that doesn't happen. Because here's what's going to happen. Okay, if there's a surprise and the crowd's falling all over themselves because they're on the wrong side of the street called profit, then we get an acceleration to the upside or downside as they attempt to correct their positions. Now, some of the ones we don't expect to trigger do trigger, and you'll read about those in there too. There's lots and lots of notes in that beta test, and some of the individual trades, there's nothing to say. They got stopped out. No trigger. And others warrant discussion. So what I've done is I've now taken the stratified results and I've created a group on Telegram. We had a channel for the test, now we have a group, and I'll be opening the group up for discussion later this week, but everything has been laid out in an easy to digest format. And then you can go back and read all the notes that went along with the original trades. Ron, you can send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, put the word beta, just beta, B-E-T-A, and you should receive automatically via the autoresponder email that has a link in it. You can cruise right in and have a look. The group link has not been made public yet, And what that is, that's just the results of each trade. There's not a lot of notes, a lot of nothing. It just makes it easier to see, but you have both of them at your disposal. You have the channel, you have the group. Now when I open the group later in the week, that will be a discussion channel, okay? So I look forward to that. Now, so Ron, and anyone else, you can just do the same thing. Email support@cfrn.net, put beta in the subject line. You'll get an email in return that has a link. You can go in, you can see what happened during the last 3 weeks. Again, there were a total of 113 alerts. 26 of them did not trigger. Now, all of those that did not trigger were not ones that I didn't think. Probably the larger percentage of those were ones that I did think, you know, well, it could trigger. It's certainly possible. That concept of where we might put out an alert on something that we don't even think, that we don't think is going to trigger, okay? But if it does, wow, that would be sweet, because it's going to catch everybody unaware, the element of surprise. So whether we thought it was going to trigger or didn't think it was going to trigger, there were 26 out of 113 that did not trigger. So that left 87. 87. Of the 87, 51 made it to the final target. 15 made it to the initial target. And 21 were stopped out. So there's 113, you take out the no triggers, 26 of them, you're left with 87 alerts. Out of the 87, 51 made it to the final target, 15 made it to at least the first target, and 21 were stopped out. So there you have it. Now that sounds so simple and so whatever, but I have worked a lot over the weekend, and I just got this finished today, going back through and picking up the pieces. And it reminded me of why we tell you in the beginning, journal your trades, because when you're in a trade, you're like alive, and it's like a living thing, and oh, you know, of course you're going to remember it. But 5 trades later, you don't remember it. Had it not been for the benefit of some of the notes that I made, it would have been really difficult for me to just go back through and complete the recap. And going forward, I mentioned this yesterday, I'm making a commitment to myself that we won't publish new alerts until old alerts have been recapped, archived, some kind of label put on them. Okay. I did that, but the link doesn't work. What link doesn't work? What link did you get? Put in the chat box the link you got. Let me see what kind of link you got. It's been working for everybody else. Is it the t.me/? Can you just copy and paste it? It says join channel, but nothing happens when I click it. Okay, have you installed Telegram? Do you have Telegram? You have Telegram. Can you copy and paste that link into the chat box here, where you're typing in? You know how to do that, right? Figure out, because I don't think the links don't expire or anything, and I know people have been using it the last few weeks. Yeah, sure. Yeah, take your time. Now, here's another thing. What I just said about, you know, there possibly being more upside on the S&P, Well, we have the weekly trading zones that are sort of a guiding light for us. Okay? Well, not everybody, very small percentage of the trading population has that. I mean, they probably got something we don't, but whatever. So we think, or I think anyway, that price will be attracted up to that weekly zone. So I'm seeing the market differently than the majority of people are seeing it. And so I have to take that into consideration, and you have to take that into consideration. Okay, thank you, Ron. Okay, so let me grab that and see what happens. Something about that doesn't look quite right. Okay, when I copied it and pasted it into a browser window, it gave me a pop-up that says Open Telegram Desktop. Did you get that too? Oh, okay, Ron. Yeah, maybe that has something to do with it. So you've already got it copied to your clipboard because you just pasted it in here. So yeah, go to that other browser and give that a try. Because on my side it popped up. It says Open Telegram Desktop. So good. I'm glad the link's still working. And I agree with Jim. If you buy a stock and it goes down, then just don't buy it. I mean, can't get much simpler than that. And as I said earlier, we're definitely moving higher from here unless we start to break down. Right, Jim? Is that how you see it? And, you know, this could be curtains unless we start to rally. I told you. That's pretty funny, Jim. Thanks. You brighten my day. Every day. So 5.75 there on the S&P. On the Dow, 170. Still zones overhead. Russell, 1692. We just barely got there. Well, I guess we got there. 1692, and we put in a swing high up at 97.3. So from 92 to 97, that's 5 points at $50 a point, but trailing stop, you will leave something on the table. You could leave it all on the table. Just depends upon how aggressive, you are with that stop. And it's not as simple as, well, they're all going to behave the same. No, unfortunately, they won't all behave the same. So you have to learn to be aware of your surroundings. I talked about this the other day with my son. He's walking, good-looking kid. He's, walking through the store, and he's got his head in the clouds, and he will bump into somebody. He doesn't mean no harm. He doesn't do it anymore. It's just when he was younger. And I remember telling him that so many times, son, you gotta stay aware of your surroundings. I mean, somebody could have snatched him up and ran off because he wasn't aware. So 5 points there on the Russell. That's what the market made available. Crude oil. Now these are last week's zones, and I talked yesterday about the fact that last week's zones are, they can help you this week. So when I give them to you this Thursday, maybe jot them down. Yesterday we did the live radio trade, and I said by the time we get together tomorrow, it was about right here at the close of the show, I guess, right about here. I think we were right here. Anyway, oh, it's right there, 3:47 p.m. Eastern. Well, there you have it. So 15. Is that right? I guess so. No, that's not right. Could have been 3:47. Maybe it was 3:47 when I put the time up there. But it was on the radio. It's on yesterday's video. It was right at the end. I believe it was at the end. what I said, we were talking about, you know, the market. Of course, it can go sideways. We've seen that happen. But that doesn't make traders happy. It doesn't make the market happy. Everybody gets grumpy. The market's always trying to go somewhere, do something, put in a new high, put in a new low. I mean, it really has, you know, purpose in its step. So when I said by the time we speak tomorrow here on the radio, I'm relatively confident that price will have either traveled from 69.05 to 69.35, or it will travel an equal distance from 68.35 to 68.15. That's what happened. The market just being the market. That's $300 per contract traded. If you just went from 05 to 35, it's 30 ticks, $10 a tick. It continued on another 40 ticks, another $400 per contract traded. But if you were trailing behind it, at some point it's going to come back. It's going to get you. Now, the indicator set can help except when you have this. We've talked about it a lot. See how price, we're closing on the north side. It's a long trade. We're on the north side of the CFMA 1. So if you were in this 69.05 to 69.35, you get triggered in, you hit the target at 35, there's no reason to get out. I mean, you're sitting pretty. If anything, you would probably want to add to your position. I know that's a foreign thought, but that is a strategy that many people use. They put their smallest portion in first, and if it proves that they were quote unquote right, we don't use that term right or wrong, but if it turns out their idea has already reaped some profit, then they'll put more money to work with it. Now you got to wrap your brain around that, because it's different than what most people have tried to do in the past. Most people go in all up front. Most people probably are all in, all out, but the more common trailing method is to go all in up front and then slowly pay yourself as the trade winds down. And then there's the, you know, just use a contract to see if you got it right. Oh, okay. And then load the boat as it moves towards your target, and then pull the plug when it hits the target. So now our sell signal typically would be when the step line gets on the south side of the CFMA 1, and in a long trade we have a red candle close below the step line. But this was an unusual candle in that it went from 69.75 all the way down to 69.40. It's a 30-minute candle. We had this slow building leg last night, and then we hit the zone from last week, and we put in a lower high than we did yesterday. That possibly right there, that might be the high of the week in crude. Not predicting it, I'm just saying, based on this week's zones and other things, that just might be high of the week. Price pulled back, made a run at the zone, red and falling. Such a common story. Okay, I think John is ready to come aboard now. Not really, Daniel. Daniel, was it you that had a question earlier? Let me get John's mic open. But at the beginning, somebody had a question about, I think it was crude and one other market. Which ones was it? You asked me would I take a look at those in particular for you, and I want to do that. Wasn't it you, Daniel? Oh, it was the other Daniel, I think. Let me get John's mic open. Whoever it was, if you copy and paste it again right into the bottom, that would be fantastic, and I will be happy to do that for you. There we go. Okay. John, welcome to the show. John? He just called.
Sorry for coming on a bit late today.
No, it's okay. Not a problem.
Look, in spite of all the drama and the enthusiasm today, it's a day you want to be fairly careful of, because we have had a kind of a higher opening, a gap opening, and we're running into selling pressure up around these levels, and actually the breadth is worsening as we speak. And the mid cap, by way of example, had a pretty good early pop today, but it's coming off its highs pretty sharply actually, and that's not a very good sign. It was up about 14 points or something, 13. It's only up 7 right now, and it did make an all-time high today. So that's quite a, yeah, it really did. Is that amazing or what? And I remember I said about a week ago, it looked like that's what was going to happen with these. Also, the S&P is approaching, but we're a good ways off on the Dow. We're a good ways off on the Dow. You know, it's not still 1,000 points for an all-time high. But you know, the market. By the way, Elon Musk came up with a thing saying that he's put together a potential private equity buyout at $420 a share, and the stock's up $22 right now. He's certainly an amazing guy for him. I don't think there's ever been anybody who can move a stock like this guy. And you know, as I said the other day, every time a SpaceX or rocket takes off, kind of helps Tesla. And we had another launch this morning, and you know, they're launching rockets at a pretty phenomenal rate right now. They're sort of doing one every fortnight, if not every week, which is quite impressive. And this one was launched with a booster that has been used before, and apparently has a life of 100 launches, reusable boosters. So you know, they're really doing some things that are pretty amazing. Now the buyout idea.
Tell me about the buyout again. Who's buying who?
Well, a private. You know, they're going to take the company private at $420 a share.
Okay, now what's the reasoning behind that?
Well, you know, I think the reasoning is it gets him off the hook. You know, I mean, he's got a lot of shares. It's going to make him, probably one of the top 10 richest guys in the world. You know, I'm not sure what the deal is on. You know, he had some sort of a deal where he'd earn a lot more stock based on performance. Maybe that crosses a threshold that kicks that in as well. I can't remember the details, but if it does, it's a brilliant move, because you know, I guess it takes the stress out of everybody. You know, getting $420 a share for Tesla is unbelievable, but it gets, you know, everybody who's ever bought the stock is a winner. And
what price did they go public at?
It was down in the 50s or somewhere like that, 30, 40, 50, if I remember. Hang on a second. Tell you.
This thing.
No, it was 17. Holy mackerel! This thing was around 17 to 20. Yeah, what do you reckon on that? Yeah, so it's at $20, around about 20. Opened at 19, I think. So it's gone an awful long.
Go ahead.
So it certainly had a meteoric rise, and he you know, they could get into a lot of stuff in the future, including flying cars and jetpacks and things. And you know, I know you've seen a couple of videos recently. There's this guy out of England who's got a jetpack where you have jets on your arms, and that's a really impressive sort of flying vehicle.
Jets on your arms?
Yeah, I think he has some on the feet and the back and your arms, so you can sort of direct yourself with the arms.
You can fly like Superman, so you really don't have a.
No, it really is amazing. It really is amazing. They had I think it was there at the British Grand Prix, showing it off. And then there's another guy who's on a hoverboard type of thing. I don't really know how that works, but it looks amazing. You sort of stand on a literally on a kind of a square box hoverboard, and I mean, this thing is just it's very fast, and it's amazing. So, you know, these are just the early days of it's sort of like the Wright brothers all over again, but a whole new era ahead of us that's coming. And
now the hoverboard you're talking about, is that actually something that, because I heard that the hoverboards that were for sale on the internet, they didn't actually hover like in the movie. Remember?
No. This is something different. This is something different, but it's pretty amazing. It's a little bit like the water thing, you know, the water where they go, you know, where you can use the water power, but without the water, it's really amazing. So. Just getting back to the markets for a second, we're starting to come off a little bit here, and we have to be very careful, because having had a kind of an up day of this strength. Look, Facebook, we actually got a sell on Facebook yesterday, and we pretty much got the highs of Facebook, and it's been down ever since. We had a sell stop that got executed, I think this morning actually, 187, and it's down to 184 right now. And you know, it put on a great rally here, Facebook, in the last week or so, but it might be running out of gas. And Twitter also, you know, started out well, but it's coming off as well. And you know, these stocks have been under a lot of pressure, and they're you know, Twitter in particular looks very bad on the chart. So you really have to be careful. Nvidia is another one, you know, has not been able to get up towards a new high. It's coming under pressure today. So this is now the good news. There is a sort of there has been a dramatic development overnight, and virtually all the overseas markets, emerging markets, Chinese, etc., all gapped up this morning very sharply, and they lifted the European markets equally sharply, which is one of the reasons why the US got off to a pretty good start. But we've had this divergence where the US is going to new highs, and the emerging markets have been going to new lows mostly. And you have to ask yourself, who's right? Are they going to go up with the US, or are they going to go down? We might get a bit of both. You know, it depends on how the rest of today acts out. If we continue this rally and we close near the highs, it probably does extend. It potentially extends it later this week. But you know, we've got the PPI and the CPI coming out towards the end of the week. That could be a problem for the markets, because if the tariffs kick in as inflationary, which is quite possible, that could really, you know, be the first kind of fundamental chip in the armor, if you like, of the bull market. Now, one of the, you know, we talked about inflation being good for the market. We also talked about, then, you know, there are three things that are potentially helping this market right now, which is a bit of inflation that actually translates to growth. The 80% of all the S&P, all companies reporting beat their expectations. 80%, that's a very high number. best in maybe decades. And the third thing is we're in a 4.1% growth economy. So all of these things have contributed to this up move in the last week or so we've been talking about and predicting. And certainly, you know, as I say, we're getting a bit of a melt up of sorts, and it could be enough to carry the markets to new all-time highs across the board, especially if we get back up towards today's highs in the next day or two, or later today. So how we finish up today is pretty important. Intercept, by the way, got up to 117 today. It's coming off a little bit.
When we were looking at it?
Yeah. It got up to 100. Oh, it got up to about 114 yesterday, but it went down. Actually, when we actually sold it at 116 yesterday or something like that, and bought it back this morning at 109. And it's been going up since then. We've traded in and out of it a few times, right up to 117. It's down a bit now, but it probably is turning back to a buy here at about 115. But you have to be very careful of this stock, as I said yesterday. So one of the things I wanted to say is, you know, if you don't believe inflation is good for a stock market, you got to check out the Venezuelan, the Caracas market.
I heard yesterday the average Venezuelan weighs 15 pounds less than they did a year ago.
Well, that's quite possible. You know, things are pretty bad there. But the stock market must be pretty hot because believe it or not, almost exactly 2 years ago, this is not a lie, this is a fact. 2 years ago, the Caracas indicator, whatever it is, index, was at 12, right?
Right.
Would you like to guess what it is today?
It was at 12. No idea.
Yeah. It's about 120,000.
From 12 to 120,000.
Yeah, it's up 10,000 times, or about 1,000,000%. So it's.
What indicator is this again now?
It's actually, I found out about it because, you know, CNBC in the last few days have changed their kind of homepage and stuff, and they've got a new thing now where you can go directly to markets, and it gives you all the overseas markets. I don't know, for some reason they left the Mexican market off it, but but they put this Caracas in there. Actually, it's 103,000 today, but it did get up to 125,000 at the end of July. So it's got all the data there, you know, going back to the beginning, and it's really amazing. I mean, you know, because it's just like a flat line, and it suddenly goes bang, you know, and that could happen to the U.S. As a matter of fact, if you go to HUI, XAU, GDX, and GDXJ, you will probably start to get some confidence that a turn in the gold market is fairly imminent. What I think is probably going to happen is we might spike down a little bit in the next few days, going into these inflationary numbers, and then possibly turn upwards from there, depending on the numbers. So, and you know, we've been basing out for a long time on the nuggets and the GDXs and things. And when you look at this, you know, Caracas general chart, you could sort of, you know, it's the epitome of showing what a long base can do to a market, and this is, you know, there's never been a market like this in history.
Well, I'm going to pull up the chart. What's the symbol again? I'm trying to get to it.
The IBC Caracas Stock Exchange. I don't know what the symbol is on it.
Well, this thing's pretty good at finding them. IBC. iShares, Independent Bank Corp, IBC. Well, let me just type in Caracas and see if. CARR.
Hold on.
ACA. Is that how you spell Caracas?
I think it's 1R.
1R? guess we don't have it. Yeah.
If you go to CNBC markets, sorry, CNBC and select markets.
Yeah, no, I'm on the markets page. I got it.
Okay, you go down to the. Oh, you're on a different page. You're on the.
Yeah, this is the page I use all the time just to see what the different indices.
Okay, does American go back to the Americas? Yeah, there it is at the bottom. You just missed it. There it is.
Caracas. Okay. IBC. IBC. Did I try that one? I didn't try that one, did I? Did I try it?
Just can you get the chart up?
Yeah, I was just asking you when we were over here. It's not the IBEX 35, is it?
No, that's Spain, I think.
Okay. All right, so we'll use the chart at CNBC. Navigate back to it. There we go.
If you go year to date, click on year to date because there's a spike there.
And year to date, okay.
Yeah, you get a better. I mean, look at how much it's gone up just this year. It's amazing. So you know, if we get 2 or 3% inflation, which looks like we're already there, it's going to be very helpful to the markets. And if you go back to 2 years ago, 2016, it actually, in about August 2016, it was in 12. It was a price of 12.
It was 2018, 2017. It's just flatlining back.
There it is. There it is. Look, you got it. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah. And so what do you think's behind this?
Say again?
What do you think's behind this?
Well, the whole inflation, you know, the inflation that's going on in Venezuela. I mean, they've had this crazy idea, you know, it's the cheapest gasoline in the world. I think it's about 7 cents a gallon or something. And they've been subsidizing this gasoline, you know, for an eternity. And it's basically bankrupted the country. You know, they've been giving away the gasoline at this crazy price to people and probably losing money on it or not making any money on it. And their oil industry's just gone, you know, into oblivion.
Interesting.
And they, you know, they've spent a whole lot of money on a social program, you know, giving away free housing and all kinds of stuff, and free pensions and everything, and other pensions are worthless, effectively.
The pensions are worthless?
Pretty much.
So the company's bankrupt?
Well, you know, the oil company that basically provides the revenue to the country. I mean, they're still getting revenues, but we were talking about this. You know, they need so much money to boost production that it, you know, at these prices, it's pretty much a, you know, it's going to take decades to make that money back, and the oil industry is a very risky business these days because nobody knows for sure how many years left there are. You know, maybe we might only be looking at 10 years before, you know, the whole industry changes.
What do you think about this situation, all these diamonds that they found?
Pretty well, you know, that's another, you know, that's another unknown. I mean, even though they haven't made very many big oil finds recently, they continue to make them, and you know, if they find really big new discoveries, obviously that's going to pressure the price. So the price of oil, I mean, I think we're going to have a shortage, and one more shortage to come, It's in just like the 70s. We had an oil shock in 74, and we had another one in 1980, and both of those years was when gold, spiked dramatically, and we've had basically a shortage, an oil crisis in 2008 through 2011, and we saw $1,900 gold before the price crashed. The second, just like the second 70s, the second oil and gold price spike is probably a few years off. Maybe it's going to hit us in the early 20s, and it could be extreme. I mean, it's going to do wonders for electric cars thereafter, but it could hit, we could easily hit certainly $120, $110, $120, very likely, but we could go to 150, might even go to 200. So, for a limited period of time. It could, that would be a form of rationing in of itself. So it would take the demand way lower and to kind of ease the situation. But nevertheless, we saw what happened before when it went to 150. But this time, the Saudi production's actually gone down quite a bit in the last few months, which means they're pretty much maxed out at current levels.
Check this out, John.
Yeah.
Wayne just sent me a link. Wayne T in the audience just sent me this link. Hammacher Schlemmer levitating hover scooter. A miniature flying saucer with handlebars. Is this the kind of thing you were talking about?
Yeah, no, well, it's a bit more dramatic than that, but that looks pretty cool. Just, to have some fun on.
Yeah, I just wonder if it works. How much do they sell this? Well, these guys aren't known for cheap stuff. The Hammacher Schlemmer.
Right.
13 grand, I think I saw down here somewhere.
Yeah.
We regret it is no longer available. We apologize for any inconvenience. More ride-on toy products are available. So when they had it, it was $13,000, and it had a lifetime guarantee. Interesting. So levitating hover scooter comes with the Hammacher Schlemmer lifetime guarantee. Items that we sell are guaranteed for their normal life under standard non-commercial use. These were the guys before. Didn't we used to find their magazine in on a plane?
Yeah. And
that other company kind of took that space. They came out specifically for that purpose. What's that called? New. I don't fly enough anymore to even remember it's always the airplane. Place where you can spend too much for stuff, more than you have to. What else is going on in the big world out there today?
We put a buy on lumber earlier on, and it's starting to go back up. Cocoa had a good rebound. It got hammered yesterday, had a rally this morning. We already sold that rally, and it's coming off again. Coffee is slumping down again towards lows, so it really looks like we're going to take those lows out. If you could stick up, can you get HUI?
Which one now?
HUI.
HUI, sure. What time frame you wanted on HUI?
The gold bugs index.
Okay, it's on. Let me put it on daily.
Yeah, if you could probably put it on a monthly, that'd be better.
That's what it was on. Yeah. Okay, let me go. Here we go. All right.
Can you squeeze it up there?
Yeah.
Now, do you see you see that bottom in 2016,
Right here.
and the huge rally we had up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like we could bottom somewhere around this 160 area and potentially turn up from there in what could be a really big rally. and this is actually the worst of looking of the indices. If you look at the GDXJ and the GDX and the XAU, you'll see that there's actually some divergence developing between these different indices that potentially suggest that an upturn is imminent. And if you're arguing that we're in a continuing gold bull market, a huge bull market, mega bull market, and this is all a correction. The fact that we had an impulse wave up from 16 through August or September top, have come back down, and if we make a double bottom here, there's nothing more bullish than a double bottom in a bull market. So this could easily be a launch point for a pretty big up leg that could take us way higher. But what's interesting is we have not come, even though we've had quite a pullback, we're nowhere near the bottom at the moment, and we're a good bit off the lows. So, and look at what happened before, back in 2009. Look at the launch point that got, right?
Yeah.
So imagine that high there. I mean, look, right now, if the inflation goes up any more, we're basically at the same rate of inflation as 2011. But look at the price difference between here and 2011. So, $100 or $200 upturn in gold could have a massive impact on these share prices from here.
Yeah. Gold Bugs Index. Hey, let me ask you a question. We talked yesterday about high times going public and the method in which they're going public. Now,
yeah, it's a Reg A offering.
Yeah, you can buy shares at $11.
Uh-huh.
At what point did they're trying for a listing on the NASDAQ? At what point did they determine what price they're gonna go public at? And sometimes that number gets changed, just ahead of the.
It's all to do with supply and demand and stuff that happens right before.
Right. I mean, do they sort of set like a working number 6 months out? And then
no, I think what happens is there's a kind of there's a sort of a price deal done right before the IPO, and based on that.
But typically, the investment bankers do that, and
yeah, I know.
They're missing from this equation.
Yeah, and you remember, you have to have underwriters and all this kind of thing. So it's I'm not sure how this one's going to work out, but we'll
Reg A. Just explain to the audience Reg A.
I don't know. It's not. I just think I actually saw an ad for it this morning. Came up.
Reg A. Public offering. Go public with your company. Regulation A. What is Regulation A? Regulation A is an exemption from registration requirements instituted by the Securities Act that apply to public offerings of securities that do not exceed $5 million in any 1 year period. Reg A plus of Title IV of the Jobs Act is a type of offering which allows private companies to raise up to $50 million from the public, like an IPO. Reg A allows companies to offer shares to the general public and not just accredited investors. Now, I'm very much familiar with the Jobs Act, and
that's a pretty cool
way of going
public
without having to go through all the regulatory bureaucracy. And so that's the approach. It's not a Dutch auction, but it is in fact a Reg A. So we're going to follow this closely. I'm going to be real interested to see what happens, because this is just the beginning for wherever the cannabis industry is headed in both the recreational space and the medical space, and all the spin-offs that will be created. Reg A offering. can be used for an IPO to the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. And starting in June of 2017, a significant number of companies have made their IPOs via a Reg A. So I won't go through all of this stuff, guys, but you should, if you have a business, if you're looking to raise capital, this is, you know, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the good things that that Barry did while he was in office. He was behind this this Jobs Act thing, which is kind of unlike him. Somebody must have made him stick it in something to get something else somewhere, you know, as they do. All right, John, anything else you want to cover?
No, listen, thanks for the invite, and sorry I forgot we're getting on with time today. So let's see what tomorrow brings. Have a great evening. Have a great afternoon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, let me take care of his mic. And we're not going to tarry very long because I got a kind of a busy afternoon. Close his mic for him. There we go. Okay. On the S&P, last night's email said to consider buying 28.58. Market did rally 5 3/4 points above that. On the Dow, 25,490, we managed to rally 170 points. On the Russell, a 5-point rally. On Crude, $700 per contract rally. That's 70 ticks at $10 per tick. Bonds, well, it triggered and then it triggered again, and now we're just kind of sitting here. So this is not for the beginners. 31.25, 31.75 per tick. It's better off just trade something else. NASDAQ, the NQ, consider buying 74.55. We rallied up $600 per contract available. Got back below the trigger, rallied again, making $550 per contract available. Gold, we said to consider buying 12.19. Ran up $290 per contract. Got back below the trigger. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. Get back below the trigger. This time the market makes $500 per contract available. Back below the trigger. And this time the market makes $290 once again per contract available. And isn't that the cutest little head and shoulders you ever did see? Look at that. Come here. There's the head. And the shoulder. We're not pattern recognition people. So how did I just recognize that? No, I mean, I can recognize a basic pattern. Head, shoulder, shoulder, and the neckline. Now, here's the deal on the head and shoulders. Showed you this before, show you again. You measure from the top of the head down to the neckline. That's not the neckline. There's the neckline, right there. Okay, and then you take that measuring stick and you drag it down here, and there's your target, 1210, 1211 area. Head, left shoulder, right shoulder, the neckline, from the top of the head to the neck. It's called a measured move. So according to the technical analysis, you'll actually find this in the textbook, the technical analysis textbook. We'll see what happens. I'll leave that there. We'll have a look at it tomorrow and see if we do break the neckline. This is what we're supposed to end up with. Did you notice, is the Airplane magazine the sharper image? Oh, I answered you on that. You know, I think it went from the hammer slimmer to the sharper image, and then it seems like there's a new one now, and it's been that newer one for quite a long time. Maybe I just imagined it. Karen, I typed in a message to you. I don't know if you saw it. Did you notice how many times the oil long trade recommendation that you give out late yesterday afternoon repeated itself? Actually, Neil, that part well, hang on. We back up. Do we? Okay, the 6905 that we talked about on the radio yesterday. We talked about it on, price was, I think here or here. It says 347. That's not right. I'm not on the, I know I stayed on late yesterday. I don't think I stayed on that late. I don't know, maybe I did. It doesn't matter. Whenever we said it, it was last night at 2200 hours when we triggered 6905, and it made a beeline up to the zone overhead at 6975. Price got back below the trigger briefly right here. Back below the trigger, and it's made another run so far. Swing high 69.38 there. But we may be walking this thing down at this point. A leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, and a leg. Now, Neil, if you are looking on a smaller time frame, like across here, each one of these being a 30-minute candle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 3 hours. So on a smaller time frame, this 3 hours, yeah, it could just, boy, yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine on a 30-minute, it triggered twice. What did you write me, Karen? No, I think, well, don't write it off just yet. I know, I understand. Trust me, I do. We've had many a discussion about it, and that's why we were on a break for about 4 years. So, anywho. Okay, you're looking at Michael's Forte. Yeah, so a lot happens inside of a 30-minute candle. I mean, it's amazing. Obviously, you know, a lot happens here, but when you see something like this, you're like, well, not much happened. Well, as Neil was just saying, at that 6905 price, that thing, it turned over and over and over and over and over again. Yep. Yeah. GCLU. On a 4-tick range. Oh, we got to back up to yesterday or last night. Too far. August 7th. Go back to the 6th. $2,100. Yeah, there we go. Okie doke. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. If you take nothing else away from this radio program, take that. Take that. Okay. Good word for the day. A reminder that webinar this afternoon for everyone who participated in the, I'm going to grab the link again in case it got lost in the shuffle. There's a Tuesday webinar for the folks who did not participate. And today's webinar is for those who did, who were there, you know, getting the alerts, looking at the charts, sending in feedback, you know, writing it out, writing it up, all that stuff. This webinar is for those who participated in recent beta. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to put it in the chat box. That might not be how you spell debrief, so rather than embarrass myself, I will just not type it. Spell checker. All right. If you got any final questions, let me know about anything, and I'm happy to cover them with you. Benjamin, did we lose you? Because you had asked a question right at the beginning, and I see you're still logged in, but I think maybe you could be at work, maybe on the phone, I don't know. I know you wanted me to look at something for you at the beginning, and I told you I would, and we did, but I'm just not sure you're here. So if you are, type something in the box, let me know. In the meantime, we'll go to our good word for the day. If I can find my notes. Here they go. Okay. This is something we talk about often. No, I don't know about often, but a couple times a year. All right, is that fair enough? Fair enough. The most often repeated phrase in the Bible: fear not. Apparently, if you say fear not that often across centuries, then must have been a lot of fear, and there still is. Except we got fancy fear today, like fear of missing out. So if God knew it was going to be this important to us, what can we take from that? Well, fear not. So how do we fear not? Psalm 139:14. I praise you because of the wonderful way you created me. Yeah, but sometimes we don't feel like that, do we? We feel very different. So, the Bible says over and over, fear not, fear not, fear not. How do we, if we're filled with fear, if we're gripped by fear, if fear is sitting in the chair waiting for us when we wake up each morning, how do we do this thing called fear not? There's a story told of a man who had a morbid fear of thunder. So he went to see a psychiatrist. You have a condition called brontophobia, the doctor said. It's silly to be afraid of thunder at your age. Just think of it as a drum roll in the symphony of life. What if that doesn't work? The man asked. The psychiatrist replied, then do what I do. When you hear thunder, stuff cotton wool in your ears, crawl under your bed, and sing Mary Had a Little Lamb at the top of your lungs until the thunder stops. That's how I make it stop. But seriously, most fears are based on feelings, not facts. Try to look beyond your fears and uncover the expectations that lie beneath them. As an example, if you were raised in poverty, you might be afraid to be generous. If you were abandoned, you might be afraid to trust anyone. Or you might react differently. You might cling to people and try to control them. If you were abused, you may fear emotional and physical intimacy. If you are constantly criticized, you may be afraid that God won't forgive you. If you don't feel beautiful or intelligent, or you're not from a high-class family, you may be afraid to mix with people or talk to them in case they look down on you. The American humorist James Thurber wrote, "All men should strive to learn before they die what they are running from and to and why." David not only pinpointed the source of his fears, but the source of his self-worth and security. "I will praise you, for I am wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works." When you know that you have God's approval, which is really the only one that matters, your fears begin to die. And we're going to talk about this subject, how to fear not, for the next 3 days. A little 4-part mini series here. Fear not. Meditate on that. Think about that today. How can I, because we all experience fear at some time, point in our life. Most of us. About something. How do I fear not? I won't spoil it for you, but you probably already know the answer. But sometimes it's just good to hear it again. All right? TJ says he likes the scripture that says, "The Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. The Lord is my shepherd. He makes me to lie down in green pastures." I don't know if you guys, any of you, have ever seen the 23rd Psalm broken down in such a way that it's really good. I don't have a copy of it. I could probably find it on the internet, but maybe for tomorrow. But you understand the analogy. God is comparing us to sheep, right? Why sheep? Why not a cow? Why not a horse? Why sheep? Because sheep are the dumbest animal on the planet. If they fall down, they can't get back up. They're filthy, they stink, and they can do nothing without the voice of the shepherd. They're just lost. Sheep. He called us, he looked us right in the eye and said, "You're sheep." But, so I hear, better to be a sheep than a goat. I don't know. Alright. Okay, guys, I gotta run. Much to do about everything. And again, the beta test was, I couldn't have asked for a better group to work with. It was a great 3 weeks. The time just flew by. And one more time, and I haven't broken it down to percentages because I don't do that. If you want to, I mean, you can. If somebody asks, I mean, I probably would, but it's not. I know that that's not the answer. We had a total of 113 trade alerts during the 3-week period. First week saw 10, second week saw 32, and the third week saw 71. Out of the 113, 26, there was no trigger. So that left us with 87. Out of the 87, 51 hit their target, final target. 15 of them hit at least the first target, and 21 were stopped out. So out of 87, got 51 final target, 15 at least the first target, 21 were stopped out. And those are all available. You can go look at them. I mean, you could have participated in the beta. If you didn't, I'm sorry you didn't, but I wish you had. But you can still go and look. Everything is there exactly the same. In the Telegram channel, you just send an email to support@cfrn.net with the word beta in the subject line. You'll get an email in reply that has the link to get you into the Telegram. And so you can look, you can read all the notes that I made as the alerts were going out. And we have a group that's going to open towards the end of the week. Maybe even, well, let me figure out why I'm not opening it up right now. I know there's a reason. So the channel's open, the group, and what I've done in the group is I've taken all these results and I've distilled them down to where they're easy to read and digest. Number 74, this happened. Number 75, this happened. Number 76, this happened. 78, this happened. And below the results in the group, in the Telegram group, is a space for us to have a discussion, ongoing discussion, encouraging, uplifting discussion. I look forward to that. I really do. Dear Dwayne, though you are a staunch Christian, do you fear death at all? The sting of it, how it might happen? Sure I do, Jim. Sure I do. And anyone who says they don't, well, what do I know? Maybe they don't. You know, some people seem to have no conscience, so it's possible. It is possible, I guess. All right, I'll see you all in the webinar this afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.